2911 or 493-7175. Cubano Limited. Professional, top quality, and exceptional service.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WeFM 99.9 is on now.
And the time right now, SVG, it is 8:34, and we are into our interview with Mr. Grenville Williams, the ULP's candidate for South Leeward, the constituency of South Leeward. All right, so as indicated earlier, this is going to be more of an interactive session. If you have any questions for Mr. Williams, the number to call is 457-9997. Mr. Williams, good morning to you.
Good morning, and how are you? Good morning to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good morning to South Leeward, and good morning to listeners further afield.
All right. I am fine. And what about you?
Working very hard, engaging with the people of South Leeward. Of course, having a lot of conversations to find out what are the issues that they are concerned about going into the upcoming general election, finding out from them what they look forward to in the next 5 years under a progressive ULP government, and certainly what specifically that they would like to see in the constituency of South Leeward to improve the quality of life for all of us.
Okay. All right. So just to kick things off, in your interaction with young people in particular, what have they been saying as some of the things that they would like to see under, not so much from the constituency level, but from the ULP government?
I would divide it into two segments of the demographics. In terms of the young women, they speak a lot about the educational opportunities, not so much the scholarships that currently exist, but they also want us to focus on what I would call the vocational skills. So not everybody wants to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, astronaut. Some persons want to be an entrepreneur and they want training in that area. They want support in that area. Some persons want to do plumbing, be an electrician, those sort of things. And they also want support in those areas. Some people want to make clothing and they also want support there as well. Interestingly, among the very young men, those who are just voting for the first time, their conversation normally pivots to simply more money. You know, I want more money in my pocket. They don't necessarily speak to you about wanting to work on a specific type of work. They simply say, I want more money. So I have to engage with them and direct them to the fact that training, education, awareness is going to assist you in your quest to make more money, because the greater your knowledge, the greater your skill, the greater your competency is the greater value that you will be able to add to any environment, and therefore you would attract the sort of money that you are hoping to make. So it's very interesting. On the one side, the females, they are concerned about education and the opportunities it would provide for them, whereas the young men generally point directly to money without marrying that education and awareness to their income earning capacity.
All right. I find it interesting you raised that point, because many times persons talk about the high levels of unemployment, especially amongst the young men, when persons, many persons would say within the communities or wherever that work is available, but the men do not want to work, right? They don't want to go out and work. They want the money, but they don't want to go out and work. So how are there any initiatives, let's say, to take that messaging directly to the men on the block or the men in the communities in terms of the value of work? I mean, it's kind of difficult when a man is at a man's age to try to instill in him what the values of hard work is going to be. But are there any thoughts or any measures or things that you consider in terms of getting the messaging directly to these young men in terms of how to value work and how it is to appreciate working for what you have?
Well, I think I would first say that, yes, there's work available. And I have encountered situations where I've called young men and offer them, even if it's short-term work, let's say sometimes for a week, and then I call back or I get a call from the employer to say, well, it's today, day number 2, and John is not here. Why is he not there? When I call the person, they say, oh, this is too much hard work. This environment is not for me. I thought it was something much lighter to do, and so forth and so on. And it's difficult for them to reconcile that your skill set does not necessarily translate immediately into something that they deem a little bit more comfortable. I think in terms of the solution, it has to be a whole of society approach. First and foremost, it starts in the home, where the parents must demonstrate and show to the young men and all of the family members that you make your way in life by actually working hard and applying yourself. And as I said earlier, working hard also means educating yourself, building your skill set, building your competencies, because in any job, you don't want to stay at the same level for your life. But yes, experience comes on the job. But in this modern world, a lot of training is made available that will help you to move up in the job, to elevate yourself, and so on. So it's a whole of society approach, starting with the family. I also think a lot of the females, even though they're not in the families, need to have a lot of conversation with these young men to indicate to them, we are not shunning you, we are not putting you down, but we are showing you by example what education, what training has been able to do in my life, what discipline has been able to do. And we want you to be on the same page with us. So look at our example and perhaps try to emulate that as well. And if we are honest, females generally, they have a strong influence on males. If you see a beautiful young lady, the first thing, a young man's eyes light up, But it can't just be looking at the beauty of the young lady, whether on the inside or the outside. It can't simply be having a 2-minute conversation for whatever purpose. It has to be a deeper engagement saying, young man, I want you to do something more progressive with your life. I want to see you move away and drift away from the block. And I want to see you go into an educational institution on a daily basis. I want to see you working on a daily basis.
Okay. All right, so we have a call. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, and I'm delighted to hear Mr. Williams speaking about young men and their work ethic. What we have basically is many young men's reading and comprehension abilities are not up to scratch. And they seem to have drifted through the education system and either dropped out or did whatever, and seemingly found that the education didn't match their need. So when it comes to employment, they get to the employer, they say, yes, I could do whatever, but discover that they're not able to do it or lose interest and cannot follow sort of instructions and be able to access the job properly. So they give up. And we have a lot of young men who have left school early, who, as I said, found education was not to suit them, and hence cannot access the work environment. Now, Mr. Williams will say, oh, yes, we have opportunities for these young persons to access more education. But you have to prove to them that access to education is wonderful, but going to do it. And this is where we have a major stumbling block. We have a lot of young men who are incarcerated who cannot read and comprehend well. So their access to jobs, if and whenever they are discharged, is very limited. And we have young men on the block who can't do it either. So we need to address this, as he rightly says, right at the beginning. Go back into the kindergarten and explain to young people how much you have to work for $1. So if you want to say to kindergarten children, they're playing shop, where do we go from here? You have to know, well, I need to have X dollars to buy X or to move on. And we have to make sure that if there's a young person coming out of the incarceration, it should be a two-way street, that this young person should be given an opportunity, if possible, to integrate again into society. But what we have is a young person, it's an offense, locked up, and not only that, not given very many opportunities to improve himself or herself, and consequently, eventually is released after a certain period of time and cannot access work.
Okay.
They carry a stigma.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this needs to be addressed as well. So I don't want to delay any longer, Mr. Williams, but I would appreciate if he could go back into the education system and address from day one how we can access work and make our dollar work for me. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, caller.
Thank you very much, caller. And I would say three things quickly. One, I agree with the caller that there needs to be a connection with the education system and the world of work. It can't simply be that we send a child to the classroom and we teach him math, English, whatever it is, without showing the nexus to the environment that he is going to progress to when he's 18, when he's 25, etc. There needs to be a deeper connection. I also want to, as the second point, say there must be a caution in the use of the word education. Education simply does not mean, as I said earlier, becoming a lawyer, doctor, teacher, police officer. Many young men, they like adventure. They like to be outside. And we have to find some way of capturing their interests in a system that is going to work for them. Because we need everyone in society. We need the plumbers, we need the technicians, we need the electricians, we need the technical persons who are going to be on a computer doing something. We need the musicians. And therefore, we also need to broaden the context of education to make those opportunities available to them as well. But I think you have a call.
Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Morning. The first part I have to give a little humor to the young men. They should listen to Shadow Song. You won't get hard if you don't have no one. You won't get hard if
You're
you
looking
don't
for
have
horn.
money.
Plenty
I hope that's
horn.
not the type of hard loads are singing about.
So, I can make it laugh for them first.
Mm-hmm.
But in seriousness, when I go up, I had to pave my own way. At the age of, I knew where, at the age of 14, I knew where I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be an artist. I didn't know what type of artist I would want to be. But I ended up in the Symphons and Craftsmen Center. No, but I find myself up there. Because I think when you're seeking, as the lady say, education, because that, for me, that's my education. That was my way out. And I found myself in that place. And I learned my skill. And I surround myself with people who had more knowledge than me, like Scrapey Darkwell, Caswell Samuel, Mr. Hunty that passed away. You know, you have to know what you want. I don't think a lot of these men, young men, because you can't tell me that the same situation is happening with women and women is achieving all these things, but young men are not. So I can't say it's not education is the problem, because the same education system is there for the women, it's the same one for the men. Application in the homes of working toward, because when I go up, when I wake up in the morning, my mother tells me you have to do this, you have to do that. So I have to prepare myself to go to school. When Saturday come, I have to wash my own clothes. I have to. My mother wasn't doing anything for me at a certain age. She tell me you have to learn to do these things. So it's still certain things that you have to work towards what you want. And I don't think a lot of people is getting that all the part of the education that you have to work, because they get things quite easily. Mommy still want give 18-year-old a shoes, And some of them, they don't wait for mommy, so I don't know where they get it from. But I'm saying young men are trying to get things so easy. They don't see the value of work. Not because if you really see the value of work, you will work yourself in the educational system first, so you could achieve what you want later. But because you can't apply your work habits in school, studying, making the grades, doing the exam, doing the homework that the teacher gives you, all those things are work habits. If you don't practice those things, then you can't practice them later. It's like when I say, better tree while it's young. So they won't depart from it. But if you know what I'm saying, it's the lady was right in terms of education and all that kind of thing, but I see it from a different side. Okay. You, as a young man, have to be able to apply yourself. You don't have to wait for nobody. People waiting for people to help them. Help yourself sometime. Okay. Because all them young ladies, when they go to they studying and taking they passing the grades and they go and study and come back. And you have to take care of them, half of them, man. No.
All right, Kojo.
All right,
thanks.
All right. And the third point I wanted to make, the previous caller spoke about young men in prison. Before I go on, I think I'm remiss, and we are all remiss in not saying Happy International Men's Day. I believe today is International Men's Day.
Oh my Lord!
I was coming to that. I was allowing you to finish. Yeah.
You should have said since morning.
No, I forgot this morning, and then we were discussing other things. So yeah, and Kojo actually sent me something, and so I was just waiting.
If this was International Women's Day, we would not hear the end of it if the men did not say it.
That's just bad though, but anyways, yeah.
But yes, the previous caller spoke on the issue of young men in prison and rehabilitation. And there are lots of good programs taking place in the prison. So for example, there's a furniture program, there's a poetry program.
Okay, so we get back to that. Hi, caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Caller? Okay, it's a WhatsApp call.
Yes, but rehabilitation is a critical element.
Hi, caller. Hello?
Caller's on hold now.
Try calling back, please. Try calling back. All right.
So yes, it's important that we are able to impart some skills to the persons when they enter the prison system. It's important that we help them with their literacy and their numeracy so that they come out and they can be integrated into the society and offer their skills to persons and be able to make a living and stay out of the prison system. That has to be a strong focus. And in some of these Scandinavian countries, that is the primary area that
Okay. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. The first time I call on your program.
Okay, welcome.
I want to put a quick question to Mr. Grenville. Good morning, Mr. Grenville.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. I want to ask you a question. What is the biggest challenge in the job field in the Caribbean now, by 2030? What going to be the biggest problem?
Well, certainly I see that there is need to focus on technology in the region. Most of the world, their focus now is on digitization. Their focus is on AI. Their focus is on making processes more efficient. And part of doing that is utilizing AI, whether it's robots, whether it's computer technology, whatever it may be. And we need in the region to be part of that process so that we are not left behind, because whether or not we come on board, we are going to be dragged along. So it's important for us to also develop our own knowledge and our own capacity and competencies around technology and how we incorporate it into our economies.
Yeah, stick up in it, because I was watching a lot of stuff going in China, Taiwan, and America, and they say the biggest problem to job is AI going to take away a lot of people's job. AI going to, believe how it goes. AI going to take away a lot of people's job, bank, nurse, hospital. AI is going to take away a lot of people's jobs, so we have to be prepared for it.
Well,
They say,
the answer to that is yes and no. AI will take away some of the very basic jobs so that AI will assist us, and that's where it's going to make us more efficient. But we know no system really runs by itself. We need to be equipped to put together those systems. We need to be equipped to build out this system, keep them safe, ensure their cybersecurity, among other things. And that's why I'm saying we need to ensure in the Caribbean, we're not just teaching what the subjects from the 1970s. We are no longer there. We have progressed and evolved long past those days, and we need to see where the world is going and to bring our educational system in St. Vincent right across the world to be in keeping with the areas that the jobs are going to be opening up. And we need to integrate technology more into our everyday lives as well. We shouldn't just be on Facebook scrolling. We shouldn't just be on TikTok, being entertained by the 30-second videos or whatever. We should be actually building out apps. We should be putting information on these platforms and generating income from these platforms as well. So the technology is there, yes, but we need to be prepared, and we need to turn it into an economic opportunity for the region.
So something I never want to talk, So like when you see how goes in America, like Amazon, and you see the customs immigration, where you're going to see have no customs, like face recognition. So we think a lot of these jobs, we will need no customs officers or no people working there.
Well, you will need customs officers. You just won't see the customs officers because the technology is going to do a lot of it. And yes, we have fewer customs officers because at the back, you still need someone to make a final assessment of the intelligence. But there will be fewer posts, and we just need to pivot in other areas, but certainly knowledge and skills, those are going to be critical. And that's why when we were speaking about the young men, they can't opt out of the system because they're going to be left even further behind if they don't grasp the educational opportunities. And as I said, education should not be restricted and limited to being a doctor, lawyer, and teacher, police officer, not simply the academic fields, but also the very technical fields.
Okay, caller, we have caller.
Sorry, example for me. Give me one second. Example for me. If I want something, I just go on YouTube and I download it. I don't need to go into school, the books to read. So
right, but they are also produce this material behind the scenes, and we need to become producers of that information rather than simply consumers. I would say, without any water in my mouth, the majority of us are simply consumers. We don't add any value to the system.
Yes, true. Yeah, all right, man. Thanks for
yes, all the best.
Have a good day.
All right, thanks, caller. All right, we have okay. Let's hit this call. Let's see. All right, John. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, my sister. How are you?
We're good, and you?
All right, I am blessed. I just called just to speak to comrade Mr. Williams.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, my comrade. How are you?
I am well, and how are you?
I am blessed. Let me thank you very much for getting that deed for me. I have received it. And thank you very much for doing a good job for me. And let me wish you all the best. And campaign that you're going to bring home that season in
South Leeward.
In South Leeward. I'm looking forward. I am really looking forward to have about 12 or 14 teams and the mainland.
Okay. All right, John. Yeah. Thanks for calling.
So thanks very much again for helping me to get that deed, and God bless you.
All right.
And thank you very much, John, for recognizing that. I think sometime before when I was on radio, he called and I did indicate that, I would make sure that he gets that.
So you are a man of your word. Okay.
And a man of action, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, John. All right. So we have another caller. Hi, caller. Good morning.
It's sister.
Morning.
Hello.
Hi. You're live. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah. Good morning, Roleza and Dianna.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Grenville.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm well for the moment. Working hard.
Ready to take on the task. I pray that your shoulder is broad as well.
Absolutely. I think all of my work in life, I have worked in a serious way. I've worked in a very disciplined and focused fashion. And it is the same disciplined, focused fashion that I hope to be able to put to work for South Leeward and all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a different capacity. I served as the Attorney General. I served in a national security capacity before. So I have been at work over the last 20 years. Certainly this will be a new challenge, and I look forward to undertaking that challenge and helping to improve St. Vincent and the Grenadines and improve South Leeward.
Okay. I want to engage you in a couple of things. I don't know if time will permit us. But I'll
Two
try.
things, okay? Two things.
Roleza, behave yourself, Roleza.
No.
We got to deal with the AC when the appointed time, and the appointed time is now.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, what are your plans for the road from Bojo Hill there where you cut in to go to WEFM?
Yes.
Down to Kittles Bay. What are your plans for that strip specifically?
Well, very quickly, I would say, one, we need to widen it because with the increase in vehicular traffic, pedestrians, we need to ensure that the carriageway allows at least two vehicles where possible to be in separate lanes. They are now one-lane road, and we need to make them two-way in some instances. As part of that management and planning, we would have to make some of the roads one-way as well, not just lane now, but a single direction, so that persons may be inconvenienced for a few minutes. But overall, the public, the motorists, the pedestrians would have an easier time because you're not having to back up because of vehicles coming in the opposite direction on a very narrow road. And if we're able to use drone technology and others to map the area carefully, we would not take you more than 2-3 minutes away from your home, though it's a one-way road. But first, widening it, so making it 2 lanes where possible, and in some situations, making it one directional so that we manage the flow of traffic much more easily.
Okay, but
and that road from Top Kittels to WEFM, it's open now. I've driven on it at least 3 times.
Oh, okay. Coming down from Bottom Road.
Yes.
Okay.
I tested myself.
Okay. Yeah, I know that road very well.
Yes.
But that road, what I mentioned, those properties are like right up to the road, right?
Yes, that's why in some
Especially
cases we would only be able to go in one direction because we would not be able to widen the roads because the houses themselves are so close to the road that we can't necessarily interfere with a man's castle.
You can, especially one the way. I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm just suggesting one the way that road could widen is that the drain on the top side. You sink it. You dig it out deeper, probably another 2 foot or so down. Go right down to the Kittles Bay gap, and then you can cover it. Maybe you will get an extra 2 feet which would accommodate much more traffic.
Yes, I actually wanted to do a very quick project demonstrating that, but time did not permit because I wanted to be able to point to it and speak to an example for persons. But right now we are in a sprint down to the last 8 days. So I would not get the time during the sprint to actually activate and demonstrate what the vision is.
I don't expect you to stop when you're sprinting because you might lose the race.
Exactly. But I also welcome on board, ideas from persons like yourself. And one of the things that we must do is engage in community consultation because some members of the community would also have recommendations and solutions to some of these challenges.
And one thing I like to see happen throughout, I've noticed the government is putting in a lot of slipper drain. Those drain did not design for St. Vincent because we have too much water flow.
Yes,
and
because of the hillside and the terrain.
Right. And we do not have the sewer system. A slipper drain design every 100 feet, 200 feet, the water go down, escaping the sewer and goes about its business.
Yes.
In St. Vincent, we don't have that privilege. because we are more volcanic rocky place, right? So
Yeah,
we
we're
cannot
very
dig
very
a soil
hilly, so
system.
there's quick runoff, especially now
Right.
that we're having a lot more houses on the hillsides.
Yes, correct. So I would rather see they go back to the half culvert or the box drain, which could control the water more. Because if you notice, when the water flow on the street, the road start to erode from the edge in, and people like Roleza have to drive in the middle of the road to get away from all these potholes because she don't wanna damage her Porsche, you know. So
I think Roleza just likes to drive in the middle of the road.
no, she's very careful. I listen to her. She's a very careful driver. Okay.
And final question.
Okay. The next thing is that a lady called earlier. I think probably she the first or second call. In somewhat, I disagree with what she says because I tell you, the problem is with some of these tradesmen. They don't like to read. Even learning the tape measure, they don't like to. They rather tell you 1 inch and what's the Nobody knows, okay? No, I'm talking seriously. But if they come through the tech vac system, that's where you start from. Learn your tape first, and then you go from there. You learn all the 16, all the 8s, whatever on the tape you learn. Okay? So now is the time for us, if we got to step back 1 to go forward 6, let's do that. Teach our children. And the problem is some of the men rather sit on the block rather than learn a skill. Okay? But that's the way. I can remember I went to Barbados in 86 on a job. And what they did want to pay me, I know what more, and decide that they had take my passport. So I demand my passport and I went back to St. Vincent because I know my word.
Yes.
You understand? And nobody gonna take that from me. So if these young men go and learn the skill, listen, plumbing is one of the easiest trade to learn because you go to the store and buy everything. Every single fitting you need. Electrical, maybe a little more challenge than plumbing. But plumbing is the easiest thing to learn. And I like to see the young men involved in some sort of thing rather than sitting on the block. I know it's going to be very difficult for you to engage these young men, especially those up in Top Kittels and Camden Park, because probably they're special. Come back to what the lady said. Everybody did not, let me check. Everybody don't have the head to go all the way in their books, okay? But if they learn from the basic right up, they could go right up to blueprint.
Okay.
Right up to the blueprint and master the skill. Let us teach our children in school to learn to read the blueprint. And it's very important.
Okay.
I know you are cut me off.
Did I send any hints?
Yes, you did. So, and the next thing, Mr. Grenville.
Yes.
I would like to hear you pounding the street more, especially in places like Cariv, Coconut Range, come down to where you come down to the Bethel School, go up to the police station. Well, you get the other areas over there. I think you get those areas over there.
Camden Park territory? You want to be very specific here?
Yes, that's why I said I hope it's back broad from the beginning. You know, I know the area very well. So, because all those are the stronghold for Nature Boy, and if
they're the stronghold. They're the stronghold for Jerry Scott. He just so happened to be getting legacy votes because he hasn't done one thing in 15 years.
Exactly.
So the people certainly not voting for him. They're just voting for Jerry Scott and the legacy and the NDP because they can't vote for a man who got 0 out of 15 for those 15 years.
And not because we're talking about road this morning. Don't go in and and advocate for roads only, okay?
Absolutely. I've said always, we can't build a country on roads. And after you finish the debate on roads, what next?
Oh, Lord.
Give me a vision for the country.
You're firing
and
shots.
The vision can't just simply be a fixing the road here, and that's it.
All right, caller, we definitely have to head on out, okay?
All right, Miss Samuel. I'm not calling back the radio station because you say I'm hugging up the line too much.
I
Okay?
never said such a thing.
She's inviting you to come in and be a co-host.
Our call on another morning when he will be on, right? Because we definitely overtime.
I tried to call last week, but you didn't take my call. I probably was the 1 minute man, so you didn't take my call. But anyway, have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All the best. Thank you for the call and the engagement.
All right.
All right. So we are definitely over time with this interview. However, I just had one very random question to ask you before heading on out. And then, of course, we would allow you the opportunity to remind persons of the importance of voting and why to vote for you. As we hear talking about prisoners or ex-prisoners, are they allowed to vote?
If you're out of the system, yes. If you're incarcerated, no.
Oh,
in short.
Okay. All right. That was just my very random question. All right. So.
Well, thank you very much again for this opportunity. Thank you very much for all the persons who called in, and to all persons listening, whether you're in South Leeward or not. I would like you to encourage everyone in South Leeward, and I said everyone, including the people in Camden Park, to come out and vote for Grenville Williams on the 27th of November. Vote for the Star, vote for the Unity Labour Party. But more importantly, vote for progress in South Leeward. We cannot have another 5 years of stagnation. We cannot have another 5 years of a person who is not working on behalf of South Leeward, regardless of whatever party or whichever party they support. We need a vision for South Leeward. We need a vision beyond a debate on roads. We need a vision beyond a question on roads in South Leeward. Yes, we need roads. I accept that. But we need to go much further than that. We need someone who values the people of South Leeward. And you have to value people by demonstrating that you yourself, you are a hard worker. If you're not a hard worker, South Leeward is a huge place. South Leeward is a constituency that requires a lot of attention. And to you, the folks in Camden Park, I grew up under the era of Jerry Scott, and I acknowledge the work that he has done. It is good work. It was a long time ago, however. His legacy lives on. But the person who's there is not living up to the name Jerry Scott. In Grenville Williams, you are going to get a person who delivers like Jerry Scott and delivers beyond. And I want you to give strong consideration to coming out on the 27th of November and placing your hope, your future with Grenville Williams, because I will deliver for you. I will improve South Leeward. I will make South Leeward better. That is a pledge from Grenville Williams. And I want to work with all of you here in South Leeward to achieve that mission.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams, for joining us this morning. I don't think that this will be the last time before election date, sir. So to the person who just called, the call just before, you would have another opportunity. Okay, so we look forward to seeing you soon, Mr. Williams, and have a good one today.
All right, thank you very much for having me here today on International Men's Day. And again, happy International Men's Day to all of the men in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and across the world. And I hope you will continue to make your contribution as citizens of the world, citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, citizens of South Leeward. And we will find a way to mentor and to guide the young men who are sitting on the block so that they also become productive members of society, and we can be proud to call them men as well. So happy International Men's Day.